Healthcare reform has been a major political battle in this country. If you could start all over and develop your own healthcare reform plan, what would be its key components?
I firmly believe that healthcare is not a delegated power of the federal government. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at it, or how many bonuses you take away, or how many doctors you give it. The problem is it's government-run healthcare, just like the VA. It's government-run healthcare. That's what the problem is with the VA. You're not going to fix it by. Thank you. You're not going to fix it by throwing money at it. So the real solution is it has to be free market solutions. The lobbyists and the pharmaceuticals and everybody are fixing the prices through the government to make it so people can't afford their stuff. The free market should be deciding what we need. You know, if it's necessary, if the states decide that they want to have a healthcare system, the states can do that, but it's never the federal government.
The EPA regulations are forcing the closure of coal-fired energy plants around Michigan. What impact will this have on Michigan's energy supplies, and what action needs to take place?
Well, you know, up in the Upper Peninsula, we have a power plant up there, and it's powering up the mines up there. And the mines are a vital component up there, right? And with these new coal-fired power plant regulations, it is a very real situation that they're going to close that down now, because they fell under some other regulations that they got together, they came up with the money to cover it, and then after they covered it, the government said, all right, well, that's awesome, but now we want you to follow these regulations. So they can't keep paying for all these onerous regulations by the federal government, and they're going to shut it down. And I believe statistically, for every one of those jobs that they shut down, you lose like 8 manufacturing jobs. The statistic is somewhere in that. So, and you can look at it another aspect that, once again, it's not an enumerated power of the federal government. Our founders knew that any time that the government is regulating, it's taking jobs away, it's taking our liberties away. So I'm very much against it.
Personnel changes were recently made in the Veterans Affairs Department to address inefficiencies in our VA healthcare services. Are these the right changes, and what else needs to be done?
Well, a lot of it is kind of like a Band-Aid fix. You know, we have changed the people running it, but we haven't really fixed the problem. The problem is the government is still running it. The veterans should be allowed to go wherever they want. They should be able to take their ID card. We've all done our time. We served our country, and we answered the call. You know, there was no waiting 90 days to answer that call. You know, I got 30 minutes, and I got to go. So they should expect nothing less from their government.
Politicians speak regularly about job creation and getting Americans back to work. How do we do that?
I think that the government regulates too much. You know, they regulate business right out of our country. We need a free market solution to it. Things we can do here in Michigan, we are a right-to-work state now. And one of the things that businesses are moving when they want to move, they want to know, is it a right-to-work state? It's one of the key things they ask for. And just having the title of congressman makes them listen. You know, I wouldn't be a Joe Schmo down the street, hey, you know, we got this building, you know, we'll give you a good deal on it if you move here. If you're the congressman, people stand up and they take notice. The congressman from Michigan is interested in what we're doing. He's got a place over here, they have good hardworking people, they have structures already in place. He has a good plan. We should take a look at it and see. You know, the power of the C is not just walking around saying I'm a congressman. You're representing the people. You're representing the people of the 1st District, and he should be doing that. He should be going out and finding our best interests. And it's not just, you know, it's not about using government tax dollars to create jobs, because the reality of it is government doesn't create jobs.
The issue of immigration has become a challenging diplomatic issue for the current administration. How should the U.S. move forward on immigration policy?
Well, we can all agree that Congress is not holding our executive branch accountable for what he's been doing. And naturalization is vested in Congress. So it's not all the executive's fault. It's Congress's fault also because they're not exercising their constitutional duties. You know, right now we got people pouring over our borders, or if you can consider them borders, they're wide open. There's nothing protecting our borders at all. And you're really a country without borders. It isn't even a country, really. You know, if I was a governor in one of these border states, I would have called in the Guard. I would have secured our borders. There's no way that I'm going to wait for the executive or the Congress or anybody else to act to protect my own state.
The government has been implementing a plan to scale back the U.S. military. With new political unrest in Gaza and Israel and in Ukraine, what should our country's military plan be moving into the future?
I'm a firm believer in Reagan's stance and peace through strength. You know, our congressman that we have right now, he's been voting to shrink our military, and that's the absolute wrong thing to do. You know, we got people out there that don't like us, and we got an executive that thinks it's more important to go golfing. You know, what does that say to the rest of the world? You know, we have people that are real threats to our country, and they see that our government is weak, our military is weak, and they don't seem to care. We need a strong military, very strong military.
Concern has been raised recently about the safety of an oil pipeline that runs through the Straits of Mackinac. What do you know about this issue, and what action should take place?
I don't know everything about the pipeline. You're talking about the pipeline underneath the bridge? I don't know everything around the pipeline. But I do know is that you don't shut down the industry in the area, you fix it. Because that industry brings jobs to the area, it stimulates the economy, stimulates people's pocketbooks. You know, it affects every aspect of our lives. So, you know, whatever issues are there, they need to be fixed. That's what I believe.
Having prepared for this election, and apart from party affiliation, provide our audience with those qualities and ideas that differentiate you from your opponent.
Well, you know, I'm an Air Force veteran. I served my country. I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution. And I took that very, very seriously. I've done a lot of my own research. I like to read about Patrick Henry, Thomas Jefferson. I like to read Hamilton. I like to read the Virginia resolutions. And I'm also a fighter. I ask a lot of the people I served with, I was always that guy that, you know, when the commander came out and he says, you got any issues? And I was always that guy to raise my hand and roll call, and he'll put his head down and go, what is it, Sergeant Arcand? Because I was always that guy, and it just bugs me to no end. I can't stand to follow unlawful orders. It just drives me bonkers. And although I get in trouble, I would stand my ground. And you know what? Once you stand your ground, other people see it and they stand their ground too. I think right now, the representative that we do have doesn't stand his ground, doesn't fight for what he should be fighting for. He took an oath to support and defend the Constitution. And it should mean something to him. When the bills come up in front of you and it violates whatever amendment, it should be pretty clear. There should be no wishy-washy, well, it's not transparent. I think it is, okay? It is pretty simple. If it violates the First Amendment or the Second Amendment or the Fourth Amendment, you vote no on it. It doesn't matter what else is in the bill because you took an oath.
Yeah, Mr. Arcand, if you have 2 minutes for a closing comment and wrap up anything that maybe we didn't cover that you'd like a message to share.
Well, Dan, would you like to go first? Oh, never mind. Well, you know, I think I covered quite a bit. I'm a stickler on the Constitution. I have some of my friends, I sit and debate and argue everything, and when you firmly ground yourself in the Constitution, you stick your guns to it. You look at through history, you know, all of our problems started coming about when we strayed from the Constitution. We started overstepping what the federal government is actually allowed to do, what it is delegated in the Constitution. And I truly believe that almost all of our problems come from that. You know, we need representatives that are willing to fight on principle, that are not there for the money or the job or retirement or whatever other thing it is. You know, I have 3 educational degrees. I have I got a aviation degree, aviation maintenance degree. I have an instructor degree teaching in the Air Force. I also have a bachelor's from Embry-Riddle University. It's the best aviation college in the world. I graduated honors from it. I got double minors. I live in Iron River, Michigan, and I own an auto repair shop in Iron Mountain, Michigan. Little 3-bay garage. You know, there ain't a whole lot of money up there. If I was worried about money and all these other things, I'd go get a job at the airlines. It's an easy $100,000 job, just walk in the door because of my credentials. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm not doing it for the job. Frankly, the job doesn't appeal to me at all, but I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution. I'm really worried that our children are not going to get what we got. They're going to have a lower standard of living than we had, you know? And it really, really bothers me. And it is our duty as Americans to stand up and fight for these things. You read through history, and they tell us that we have to be vigilant on our liberties. And how can you do that if you're sitting at home watching television?